welcome to a special Advent devotional for Coffee with Jesus. I am Todd Uebele, and folks, I've talked in the past, especially around the holidays, how much I love Christmas. I've talked about the decorations. I've talked about the joy that it can bring to other people. I've talked about how I kind of make Clark Griswold look like an amateur. One of the other things I love about Christmas, and one of the reasons why I tend to start I'll be honest, I tend to start a little bit before Thanksgiving, is the music. I love, love, love Christmas music. And I'm always a little just kind of disappointed when Christmas is over because that means I can't listen to Christmas music anymore. And so I start listening to Christmas music, yeah, a little bit before Thanksgiving. Okay, a lot before Thanksgiving. There's just something about it. One of my favorite songs is "Oh Holy Night." It's got to be Nat King Cole. A lot of people have covered it. Some have done a decent job, but it has to be Nat King Cole. But then there are a couple of Christmas songs where you just gotta listen and go, huh? Like, for example, okay, that song, "Do You Hear What I Hear?" There's a one part where they say, the child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. And they just gotta scratch my head and be like, this kid is shivering. He's freezing in the cold. Let's just put a bunch of metal on him. He'll be fine. Have these people not heard of, oh, I don't know, blankets? Maybe some clothes, some warm weather clothes. The baby's shivering. Let's try to warm him up a little. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, I understand. I know what the song is trying to convey, right? Jesus Christ is the King. He is the King of Kings, and they're honoring him with these precious metals. And I understand what the song is trying to convey, folks. But you have to admit, a shivering child, let's just put a bunch of cold metal on the kid and he'll be fine. There's another song that I always kind of have to scratch my head a little bit as well. It's called The Little Drummer Boy, you know? And I'm just thinking, okay, Mary just had a baby. She probably fed Jesus right after he was born, right? Finally got him down, got him settled, baby sleeping, and along comes this kid and says, you know what this lady needs? A drum solo. I mean, out of all the things to do for a woman right after she's had a baby, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say a drum solo probably is not at the top of the list. And again, folks, I jest a little bit, but I understand the point of the song as well, right? The little drummer boy, he's very poor, right? He doesn't have silver and gold to give the king, right? The King of Kings. He doesn't have the finest gifts to give Jesus Christ, but he has a talent, folks. He has an ability, he has a gift. And so he's going to use that talent to the absolute best of his abilities. He is going to do his absolute best for that one skill that he has as his gift for the King of Kings. All joking aside, you know, I've got to I've got to wonder. God's given each and every one of us our own talents and our own gifts. And I've got to wonder, am I doing my best with the gifts and the talents that God has given me? And folks, let me give you an example. And again, I'm not trying to brag on myself here, but God has given me the ability to write. You know, um, I've written a couple of Christian nonfiction books, including a devotional plug that has just been released called Coffee with Jesus, the Second Cup. Folks, I've also written some non-Christian works. I've written some science fiction and some high fantasy. And I have to be honest, lately I felt a little convicted. You know, when I work on these other things, when I use my gifts that God has given me for these other genres, am I taking away the time and the effort that I could be using to serve Him, to serve Him with my gifts and my abilities? Am I going to play my best for Him? Am I going to use the talents that God has given me to further His will, to follow His will? And again, folks, this is something that I felt convicted of lately. This is not to say that if you have a gift, any use aside from serving God is bad. I'm not trying to go down that road. Every single person is different, right? We all have different gifts. We all have different abilities. We all have different callings. It's just, for me personally, I know that God has given me the ability to write. And, when I serve God, I want to serve Him to the best of my ability. When I write something that's not for God, am I doing that? I don't have silver. I don't have gold. I don't have a lot of wealth that I can give to the Lord of Lords. I do have some talents and some abilities that the Most High God has blessed me with. What one thing I'm going to strive to do is to play my best for Him. I am going to strive to use the talents and the gifts that He has given me to serve Him to the best of my ability. And I would like to encourage you all to do the same. What I'm trying to do is maybe get you thinking a little bit, what are your talents? What are your abilities? And how can you use those to serve the Most High God? In short, will you play your best for Him? I am going to resolve in the new year to talk to our Father about how He would have me use my talents and my abilities to serve Him. And folks, I would highly encourage you to do the same. Let's take stock of what our abilities are and ask the Most High God, how can I use these abilities to further your kingdom? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that each and every one of you has an outstanding holiday season. May your lights be bright, your homes be warm, and your food be plentiful. Merry Christmas, everyone.